I know it's late. Thanks for joining here. The good thing about single track conferences is that people can go on the other track, so you are forced to listen to me today. Some quick words about me. I'm Federico. I work for Red Hat for about 4 years now. I'm part of a networking team in charge of making the OpenShift platform suitable for telco customers. Telco customers have slightly different requirements from regular workloads that run on Kubernetes. Because of that, I managed to work with a variety of open source projects, Athens, KubeVirt, some network-related stuff, and lately MetalLB is the project that I'm maintaining. My Twitter handle, Mastodon, email are all FedePaul, so if you want to reach me out, give feedback, say that you didn't like this talk, please feel free to reach me out. I always like to start explaining why I proposed a given talk, and this is somehow personal, and in order to understand this, we must get back in 2013. In 2013, I was working for a local company in Pisa, doing like stuff for electronic trading, and at some point I got a bit annoyed and I started doing Android on the side. It was the gold rush to apps that didn't make me rich, but made me learn a few new things. And that's when I approached Firefox for Android. So I didn't know back at the time, it was 10 years ago, and that was my first contribution to open source, and many other contributions would have come later. And that was a nice experience. I was working with smart people from Mozilla, contributing to something that was falling in the hands of a lot of users. It was really, really nice. But there were also shadows. This bug is basically, we have Margaret saying that in this bug, we landed a feature to linkify phone numbers in a page. It was disabled by default because they didn't believe in the performances. And here they are discussing about disabling Git. And guess who spent a lot of his nights and weekends implementing that feature? That was me. And that was a bug that was open to take. So I came, I took it, I worked on it, and it was reverted. And that was not a pleasant experience. Then we moved to 2018. I wanted to learn Go. I started looking at tutorials, and the model of contributing to an open source project to learn the language kind of worked, and that's when I found Athens. Athens is a Go dependency proxy, more or less like Artifactories for Java. You can have your own instance on premises and have your dependencies stored there. And again, the project looked nice. The maintainers were friendly. I came over and I started contributing to it. And of course, not again. I worked on a PR. There was an issue. I took the issue, I started working on it, and it was my free time going there. And there was a lot of discussion, and then like they didn't like the idea anymore, and basically they gave up and we closed the PR. Now we move forward to today, and today I am also on the other side. I'm maintaining MetalLB, who is working in the Kubernetes ecosystem, is probably aware of does anyone knows what MetalLB is about? Okay. Are you satisfied with that? Okay. Okay. Okay, but I see one thumbs up, so that's good. MetalLB is a load balancer implementation for bare metal Kubernetes clusters. So if you are running Kubernetes on bare metal, or you are following some tutorial based on VMs, there are good chances that you might need to install something like this in order to expose your application. From a coding point of view, it's a mildly popular project, not too big, not too small, nice to work with. So based on these two kinds of experiences, being on both sides, today I'm gonna try to tell you how to tame a maintainer. But first, of course, some kind of recommendation. Not everything is black and white. There might be exceptions. Not everything might work. It is what it is. let's try to put some context in place. We have the project. The project might be something that you want to use, something that you want to extend because you have some need on top of it. It might be something big like Kubernetes, or might be something smaller like a library that you are using and you want to extend it with some kind of feature. And the idea is that there is some kind of community upstream behind the project. Then there is your feature. It's the thing that is missing, that you think that you need in the project. And let's have the actors. On one side, you have the contributor. The contributor is you. Your priority is to have the feature be added to the project, but you never contributed to the project. On the other side, we have the maintainers. And the maintainers have slightly different priorities. They have to find the root cause of that escalation that is preventing customers to use the product. They have to deliver the features. They need to understand what that flake on CI is about and why they are not able to reproduce it. They have security issues. Today we learned about those security researchers coming to the maintainers, telling them to fix them. Find the time to review all the PRs that are accumulating, do the laundry, have a life, and then in the very last position, there is your feature they never heard about. So there is no wonder that their first reaction will be to push back. And that's not because they are not nice. Sometimes it is, but generally is because they don't want to have the burden of having to maintain forever something else that they didn't even think about. And that's why I think that submitting a PR, a pull request straight away, is generally a bad idea. There is nothing that makes me more guilty than seeing somebody that comes to the project, see that they push a big PR, so it's clear that they worked a lot on it, and you don't know how to tell them, yeah, I know that you spent a lot of time on this, but I don't really like this. So before doing that, you need to build a reputation. You need to start helping with something and show that you are somebody that can be trusted in extending the project. And another thing to remember is that contributors are a rare commodity, because if they try to help the maintainer, it's a lot of work that comes away from the shoulders of the maintainers, and they will be grateful for that. So in general, contributing to open source is about bargaining something. You give some of your time, you get reputation, you get credibility, you get the trust of the maintainer. So where do we want to start from in order to build this credibility? We need to start with something. Generally, we should start with something that is simple. And of course, contributions must be meaningful. What I mean here is that fixing typos is important, but they won't give you that credibility that you are looking for. They'll not show that you care about the project. They will not show that you are a smart person that is able to contribute in a meaningful way. So the first place to start is good first issues. The reason why is that help wanted, good first issue, generally those are those small issues that the maintainer doesn't feel he has the time to work on, but on the other hand, is screaming for help. Please somebody come from the internet and help me on that thing that I don't have the time to work on. That is not critical, but I think it's important. Another option is to triage existing issues reported by other users. And of course, there are some issues like that HTTP request that fails only at midnight that you won't be able to help with. But there are a lot of issues filed by users that can be solved by reading the manual. And if you manage to triage them to tell the other user, hey, this is solved by setting this flag, by applying this kind of configuration. This is something that the maintainer won't have to do, because the maintainer wakes in the morning and the first thing that does is look at the issues and find 5 more. And those 5 are 5 items that take time. Lastly, extend CI and provide more automation. CI and automation are one of the things that you can say, yeah, but I'm doing the release manually this time too. I know that I can automate it. It will save me time, but I'm in a hurry and I'll do that in the old fashion again. Or I'll use the old system, but there is a better and new one. So that is the kind of activity that will save a lot of the maintainer time in the future. So it's something that it's worth looking at. So the first steps are try to find where the maintainers hang out. Try to find where the community is. It might be Slack, it might be some mailing list. Depending on the project, it might even be some IRC. They generally have community meetings where you can see their face, and what you want is to remember your name. Remember who you are, and remember that you are a good contributor. You come to that place, you declare your intention, you ask if you can work on it, and then you start working on submitting the first PR, and then that is just the beginning. And why is that? If you're used to work on closed source software, open source is really different from what you're used to. The reviews are really thorough. You are the new guy, so they don't trust you and they will keep... I know it's not nice to say, but the bar is generally high for people that are new to the project because the maintainer simply doesn't trust them, so they put more attention. And you'll have to fight this dialogue between defending on your ideas on one side, not taking it too personally, and accept critics. So open source is Open source is a lot about communicating. You need to be clear, declare your intentions, and make them understand you. And I'm going to repeat this, meet them. That is super important. If you want to get credibility, if you want to have them trust you, you need to have them know you. So go to the community meetings, talk with them, share your ideas. And you might say, well, it's a lot of work. I only care about that feature that I need to add because of my work. Yeah, but you also need to remember what the maintainer's priority is. So let's move ahead and let's say that we have a few PRs under your belt, the maintainers know you, we have enough reputation, and we finally start to submit the feature. And again, I will repeat this one more time, submitting the PR straight away is generally a bad idea. The fact that the maintainer trusts you doesn't mean that you can push a Bitcoin miner in the project, right? That means that you still need to convince them that what you want is good for the project health, because what the maintainers care about is the project. So my suggestion is try to discuss it, try to prepare even before starting coding. Like starting to code, submitting the code before discussing it, before sharing your plan, is a recipe for disaster. You'll be wasting a lot of your time for nothing. Share that you care about the impacts. Show that you thought about alternatives. Show that you thought about the life cycle. Will this break the backward compatibility? How upgrades will work? How to extend the tests? And lastly, as I said, you must convince them that the project will benefit from the feature. I want to rehearse that. Having a PR from somebody that invested some of their time in the project that I won't accept because it doesn't fit the project, makes me feel bad, and maybe will make the project lose a contributor. So that is not the right way. So you submitted PR and start to fight again, because of course there is this discussion and it's normal. Another advice is be kind. Like getting angry, arguing with them won't make things better. Try to be kind even if you don't like the answers, because at the end of the day you are not the one in control, and sometimes it's really hard. Depending on what stage you are, you will be working on more complex stuff. What you might want to propose doesn't fit well the architecture. There will be other contributors or other maintainers that don't like what you are proposing. So it's something that you need to handle and to remember. You'll be a second-class citizen, especially in the beginning. Even if you did all the stuff that I'm suggesting, even if they trust you, they might be busy with other stuff. So there is still some chance that they will ignore you, just because they are busy. It might even be worse. It might be that they say, no, I know that I told you that design was this one, but now I'm thinking again and I don't like it anymore. And you need to find a good balance between nagging them, like trying to ping them, hey, remember that there is my PR waiting for a review, and not to be too insistent, because otherwise they will block you on the messaging system. And of course, people may be rude. It happens in every project, even like the super popular ones. Now I want to talk about the traits of a good PR, because writing a good PR will maximize your chances of success and will make your reputation better. First one is quality. Of course, maintainers prefer quality. And the reason why they prefer quality is because an open source project is meant to be contributed by a lot of people. So there must be less friction as possible to come in and to understand how things works, and that's why they insist to readability. That's why there is emphasis on maintainability. That's the reason why a one-line fix that breaks the encapsulation or won't be accepted, or why there is this stress on idiomatic code. It's not because they want the project to be perfect. They want the project to be easy to onboard with. And of course, we could spend the whole day talking about code quality and how to get code quality. This is just a series of things that make the quality good, but not exhaustive. Commit messages. Why commit messages matter? Because they are our testament. They are the testament not only for us, but for the future people that are going to work on the project. They are the place where when you get that bug that is affecting a lot of users, you'll go to the code and you think, why I did this? And the place where you go to find the reason is the commit message. And that's why they matter so much. So these are bad examples of stuff that I saw coming, especially this is in the title, some Jira issue that I don't know what Jira issue instance they refer about, improvements, no description provider in the PR message. A good PR should have, in my opinion, and of course this is my opinion, the area of impact, the what this commit is doing, and why we are doing that. There is this very nice article by Chris Beams that more or less sums up this, and this is the article that I send all the people to whenever I receive a commit message that could be improved. Have different commits for different sections. Having smaller commits make the PR easier to review. It's easier to scope the commit and write a meaningful message compared to having one gigantic change that contains everything, and it's easier to do backports. But the first item is super important because you want to make the review as easy as possible. So smaller atomic commits will make the maintainer's life easier. Tests are another super important area. By implementing tests, you are guaranteeing the maintainer that what you are submitting really works and it won't break in the future. So this is something that, to me, is a must-have in something that is accepted in a project. And documentation, because if a feature is something is added but is not documented, then the users of the project won't benefit from that. So even that must be part of the packet that we are sending to our project. So, wrapping up, the maintainers care about the project, not the thing that you are proposing. You need to earn their trust, and you must convince them that what you are trying to submit is useful for the project, and you must push something that has high quality. Will this ensure success? Of course not, because there might be chances where your PR doesn't get reviewed. There might be even worse cases. You get a review, you apply all the changes, and then the maintainer ghosts you again, because he has other priorities. It might be that they change their mind. It might be that the code base go to a completely different direction. Life happens. But sometimes you win, and if you get the maintainer's trust, you are contributing to a project, you get the thing that you wanted inside the project, and you have somebody that you can trust, and possibly even new friends. So it's a nice experience. Did I learn the lesson? This is something that I sent 3 weeks ago. I was sure that this was going to be accepted because it was an example that was missing in some Go eBPF library. And the answer was no. So even if I was 100% sure that that would have been accepted because it was a missing use case, there were reasons I didn't know about for closing the submission. So with that, I'm done. Thank you, and if there are any questions...
Round of applause, everyone. Thank you, Federico. It is, of course, with great pleasure.
Thank you.
And an honor.
You know, my wife is an architect. She's gonna love that I'm telling her to put this in the living room.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she will. So, are there any questions in the room? I already see 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Damn it, guys, come on. Okay, let's start somewhere. Over there.
Wait, what?
The guy, yeah.
It's one of the last chances to get a t-shirt, I guess.
Hi. I was wondering if, what do you think about contributing to an open source project by improving documentation? Because we always refer to contributing by writing code, but I think that documentation is really important too.
Yeah, as I said before, like it will help. It will get you some kind of reputation, but not on the technical side. So it's a good start, but shouldn't be the only thing that you contribute to. But it's a great way to start, especially like what I normally, not normally, but sometimes it happens that somebody comes in, open an issue and say, this part is missing in the documentation. And my reply is, not I'm gonna fix it, how do you feel about pushing a PR? Because it's nice. So.
Great, thank you. There was, okay, there.
No, I got my shirt, I'm fine.
Okay, so it's a real question. Okay, great.
That's a hard one.
You talked about code quality. Since an open project, an open source project is maintained by several contributors from several places, and each one of them might have their own programming style. What would you call quality? How would you define standards,
yeah, that's really
conventions, and so on?
For Go, I think I'm lucky because at least from the formatting point of view, that comes with the language. But yeah, like if there is no agreement, then the project has some issues. There are coding normally with a good project. It comes like contributing guidelines, and with that some coding style guidelines that you have. So that's my take on that.
Thank you. There were 2 others.
Hi there.
Over there. Oh, another
Here?
one.
Hello.
That's fine.
In my personal experience, one thing I found out is that having a nice documentation by the maintainers themselves on the way to provide contributions, it is a really important starting point for any contributor later. For example, something on the README on another file where a contributor can find out how to contribute the best way, nice tags applied to the code, to the issues themselves, to discover which one to take before the others, and so on. Do you have an experience on this flow? Thank you.
Yeah. So my take is that you want to have less friction as possible for new contributors. So good first issues, guidelines on how to contribute to the project, how the code base is organized, how to set up a development environment is really important. Like if the new contributor is not even able to build the project because he has to dig into the makefile to understand which commands to run, then the project has some problem. That part must be as smooth as possible, otherwise people will go away. So yeah, I totally agree with that, and like that makes the difference.
Thank you. Two other questions, one over there and the other one where Mickey is.
So some of us here are doing a programming school, so we are actually used to working together and so things like that, but we don't have like projects to show to people that we want to work with. So do you recommend like starting with little projects, open source, or like it's hard to get credibility with big projects at the start?
Yeah,
I guess so.
I would argue that it depends. There might be big projects that require also small fixes, so that could be a good starting point. First of all, I really think that it's an excellent career move, because if you start contributing to like that Firefox for Android thing, I brought with me for years. Like even when I interviewed for Red Hat, 7 years later, they asked me about that experience, because it's something that is recognizable. So that is a very excellent choice. You should find something that on one side you like, on the other side is contributor friendly, meaning that there are some open source projects that have a single company behind them. So even if they are open source, they won't accept your contributions. You need to do a bit of research before finding the right one, but it's a good choice.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Hi. So I would like to ask you. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you if it's ever happened in your career to ever made one of the mistakes that you present in this session.
Yeah, like it was in the last slides. So just 2 weeks ago. That doesn't happen that often anymore, but sometimes it does. So.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's have a big round of applause for Federico. Thank you, Federico. Thank you very much.